Starting something like that.
Can they hear now? How do I mute?
No, it should mute it.
Hello everyone, welcome in this panel. If you're still looking for a spot, that is okay. It's a busy agenda today. We're running from one place to another like magicians, super fast. Okay, so I suggest that we begin now. Hello everyone, thank you for joining this panel discussion, which is dedicated to the European University Initiative. It's a topic that we have been involved in ESN for the last couple of years. We're still exploring the opportunities there that are for students, for student engagement, and this is what we are going to discuss in this panel. I have to start with presenting myself. My name is Nelly. I am from Bulgaria, but I represent ESN International as I'm the Education and Youth Policy Coordinator of ESN International. I'll be moderating this panel, which combines the perspectives of different representatives, both from the university side and the student representatives in the European University Alliances. So our panelists today are Catarina Moleiro at the end of the table, who is the Policy and Communications Officer of the Coimbra Group, a network of leading universities in Europe, and most of them are being part of the University Alliances, 8 if I am correct. Then we also have Irina Ferenc, the Director of the Academic Cooperation Association, which is the key European network of national agencies supporting international cooperation. And then we have the student representatives with Lucia Prieto, the president of ESN Padova, and she's also very involved in the Arcos Alliance, of which also ESN International is an associate partner. And we have Hadela Hurtova, the coordinator of ESN's team for European universities on the side of our International Committee for Education, and she's also a representative in the alliance of her university, EDUC, pronounced correctly? Yes. So let me explain how this is going to work. We'll have a round of initial questions where each of our speakers will be able to present their perspective and their experience with the alliances. And then I would like to encourage you to participate with questions or to share your own experiences, because I'm pretty sure that in this room there are people who are engaged with the alliances themselves, and we would really like to hear your unique stories, and to encourage you to ask questions and to be a part of this discussion. And afterwards we'll finish the session with the final round of questions. I also would like to encourage you to reach out to our speakers after the discussion in other sessions or in the more informal part, because I think that we can all learn a lot from each other. So maybe as a brief introduction to the topic, the European Universities Initiative was launched a couple of years ago. I'm a bit bad with the years. I think it was 2019 or 18. Maybe the first call was then, yes. And the idea is that they would lead the way towards the universities of the future. And what does that mean? To have like transnational university campuses that offer student-centered curriculum and to enhance mobility opportunities at all levels of study. Today we have 44 alliances, and the goal is to reach a number of 60 European alliances by 2025, if I'm correct. And we witnessed the implementation of the first joint programs, the first mobilities or new types of mobilities are taking place. And I am pretty sure, as I already mentioned, that in all universities where we have an ESN section, most of them are already part of a European alliance. So I hope that this will be a useful discussion also for you to take some things home. And as we have witnessed in those years, very innovative approaches to engage students, to involve them in the work of the alliances, into the construction of those alliances. We also wonder, on the other side, are students only end receivers of the participants in the curriculum, or are they also like equal constructors of this very ambitious project? So to begin the discussion, I would like to pose my first question to Irina. Irina, you have like a very big overview on the European Universities Initiative and the way that it has been rolling out. Now, a couple of years into it, what is your opinion? What do you think is the role of the alliances for the higher education sector and the internationalization in general? And do you think, I will have a second follow-up question, do you think that European alliances are, when the universities are stronger together, do you think that they are more successful in engaging and involving students than universities doing it by themselves?
Thank you. Thank you very much for the question. Now, an acknowledgement, as you've heard, I don't work for the European Commission, but I think I can start by saying that I think from our point of view in ACA, but also many stakeholders in higher education, this initiative is probably the most ambitious cooperation initiative in the field of higher education to date. The European Commission and European programs have been funding cooperation between universities for different purposes for a very long time. So there is a very long track record of funded cooperation at university level. And I reckon most of you know about the funding opportunities primarily through the Erasmus program and the Erasmus type of exchanges that are being supported, but under the same broader program, which is now called Erasmus Plus, for the second program generation already. This element of funded structured cooperation for universities has been there for a very long time. But yeah, quite a few years ago already, by now, as I think I also realized listening to you, Nelly, that time really flies in our field. We still think of this initiative as a new initiative, but in fact we are already at a stage where the pilot phase of this initiative has ended, and we are in what we call the full rollout, the full implementation of this initiative. I still think this type of cooperation that the initiative supports is the most ambitious to date in the education programs of the European Union, because in the research-related programs we also speak of very broad types of cooperation and also very significant funding. So it's a very, I think, ambitious initiative with a very ambitious vision. You've heard from Nelly already some of the ambitions behind this, like this idea of the transnational campus, truly joined European degrees, and alliances that are funded and implementing their activities under the initiative at the present have been encouraged to have a very long-term vision of working together more closely. And whenever I think universities are cooperating, they're not cooperating just because they like to cooperate. There's certainly some fun and nice element in that too, but usually they do so in order to advance the quality of their education provision, to improve their services that are directly related to this quality of education, to improve the quality of research, service to society, and so on. And I think really that it's what is at the core of this initiative, and also what is probably most relevant about this initiative from a student perspective, because many of the objectives I think that the concrete alliances are trying to reach are related to developing a better educational offer for the student body in cooperation with the students that are part of the representation structures in the alliances. And also many alliances I also think have very strong ambitions related to mobility, and to, on the one hand, improving access to mobility opportunities. I think those of you that were in the previous session here that talked about the future of internationalization, we've also heard that this idea of wider inclusion in mobility opportunities, including in Erasmus Plus, is something that various actors are working towards, and that's at the heart of this initiative too. So I think the many alliances have an objective of 50% of students taking part in mobility opportunities under the alliance, but also making this mobility between the universities that are part of this consortium more seamless, removing some of the remaining mobility obstacles. And I think many of you know, maybe also from direct experience, although I hope that's not the case, that there are still many challenges in European countries related to recognition, to transfer of credits, although we have many tools in place that should be working seamlessly by now. So to answer first part of the question, Nelly, I think what this means for the European higher education sector today, this initiative, I think it's been a very good initiative to enhance and accelerate cooperation. At the same time, I think we have to be fair and say the initiative was launched just before the COVID-19 pandemic with a level of ambition we haven't seen before. So although I think all alliances are to date in full swing and are making progress towards delivering on this vision of better educational offer for their students and also improving mobility opportunities, this is still the long-term vision, and I think if we were to really check now at the level of implementation, we'd see that there's still many steps that need to be taken to make this a reality. So yeah, I think I would maybe leave it at that with the first part of the question. Now about your second part of the question and whether coming together under the alliances allows universities to have better student representation. Many of the, all the alliances I think have a structured student representation body. This was one of the requirements I think from the European Commission from the start of the initiative. And alliances have responded to how they structured this representation in different ways. So we see different models, and probably we'll discuss about that later. from the examples I've seen, I think universities are still testing, working with these student representation bodies. So I think it's still work in progress, maximizing this representation in the alliances as such, and also in the way the student bodies can actually influence the educational development and also participate in the new education opportunities, the new joint programs, the new courses that are jointly being offered by partner universities to date. So to kind of close it, I think the potential is there, but it's still very much work in progress, and I think it would be very interesting to hear from you also in the audience if you have experience with this participation in alliances that your universities at home or abroad might be part of. It would be very interesting, I think, to hear what is your sense of this participation and what is needed. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this nice or more extended introduction to what actually these European University Alliances are. Now, to move forward with our discussion and to explore a bit more the student engagement, I would like to pass the word to Katarina. As I mentioned, she's representing the Coimbra Group, which is a network of 39 European universities. Katarina, can you tell us what has been the experience of establishing the alliances for your member universities? As a first more general question to you, and also maybe I can introduce the audience that recently you have conducted an internal survey among the students in the alliances to explore the level of involvement. If you could share some of the key findings or key reflections that you have at this moment, that would be very nice. Thank you.
Okay, I think you said 39 members of the Coimbra Group. It's 40. And
40.
There are 41, but one is suspended because it's St. Petersburg due to several conditions that you all know. So thank you very much. We're really excited to be here as the Coimbra Group. For me, it's a great experience to be here, although I don't like to speak in the public conferences. And indeed, we did a survey only because of this session, because you said we were from the beginning with the alliances were our members.